Hello, this is Dr. Mark Miravalle. I'm here at Holy Trinity Abbey in Ireland with Anne Lay Apostle. We are examining the messages from Volume 6 on Heaven Speaks to Families. And I would like to read the June 8th, 2004 message from Mary, an unknown saint who speaks to mothers, and then ask Anne for her comments. This then is the June 8th, 2004 message. Again today I speak to mothers. Jesus, who understands all, wishes that I speak to you with the power of experience. When someone speaks to you about a skill and you suspect that the person knows nothing about the topic he addresses, you tend to wonder why you are listening. But when someone speaks to you with the benefit of experience, you listen more carefully, because if you are wise, you will wish to learn from that person's experience and so avoid mistakes you might otherwise make. I wish to help you to understand the noble task of mothering that God has willed for you. If you are a mother, the parenting and direction of your child must be the first priority of each day. You must see to the child's needs before anything else. If you are working in a job where it is not possible that you do this, you must consider carefully whether or not our Lord wishes you to remain in that job. Again, I must say that I do not speak to mothers who are working to provide for food and shelter for their children. You will know yourself if you are working from necessity or working from the desire to acquire more worldly possessions that you need. Let us examine what is necessary for a child to flourish in today's world. Food, shelter, and clothing are the barest concrete necessities. What kind of food does your child need? Simple food, prepared at home by someone who loves the child. This is the best way to nourish a growing body. If your child is well used to eating at home and eating simple foods, that child will not demand more elaborate fare. If the child does demand more elaborate fare, you simply say no. Now we look at shelter. When a child is born and is laid in his mother's arms, he does not wonder how many rooms are in his home. He feels safe and warm and is content. That child is brought home. Again, he is not concerned with how big his house is. Rather, he is concerned that when he cries, his mother responds. The child begins to grow and look around. Still, he does not say, "Why don't I have a big house? Why don't I have an expensive car to drive in?" He looks to his parents for guidance in this area, and if his parents are content with what that family has, then the child understands that there is no reason to complain. If a parent is discontent and always longing for something better or something more, the child feels he too has been shorted. Mothers, please set a tone of thanksgiving for what you have, regardless of how humble are your possessions. Your child will do the same, and you will set the course for a lifetime of contentment rather than a lifetime of greed and covetousness. I must speak about clothing. Again, if you do not entertain thoughts of bitterness that your clothes are not as fine as the next person's, your child will think nothing of it. When he comes home and says that other children have better clothing than he does, you must say that in heaven, nobody looks at clothing, and begin to praise the beauty of your child's soul and the lovely virtues that are developing. My child will not like this, some will say. Again, I say to you, dear mothers, that your child will adopt the tone you set. Set a tone of simplicity in your home. And explain to your child that your family rejects the notion that fine clothes and homes make fine people. Holy households make fine people. And that is what you must strive for. You will find peace in your home if you try to implement these concepts, because you will have all of heaven assisting you. I understand that some children have been exposed to worldly ideas, and we will speak about that tomorrow. For today, concentrate on simplicity in your home. And your comments?
It's a beautiful template for us, especially in this time where many families are struggling with financial distress, to say, whatever you have, thank God for it. I've seen in families where you have, the mother can set the tone of contentment and can treat material possessions accurately from a heavenly perspective, which is, we've all, I mean, many of us have heard things like, so-and-so has the television and a VCR or DVD player in their bedroom and a phone and an MRI machine. And, we can't compete and don't want to compete. We wouldn't compete. And so those are teachable moments where you can say, this is not who we are. This isn't what we think is important. As a matter of fact, your bedroom needs to be a quiet place. And, we can use them. The other thing another thing that's beautiful here is they say, remind them when they come back and say, I want, is that holy people are what we're trying to get. And in heaven, nobody looks at clothing. So we're always really trying to give our children a heavenly perspective. We can do that through all of these things. A thought that I have is that in the home, it's so important to affirm the children in their virtues and teach them about virtues from an early age. I am certainly not the best mother in the world. That's not what I'm saying. But it is important to say, oh, that's very kind. That was very kind what you did. Or when somebody shares, oh, that was very generous, even privately, so that they identify which actions you're proud of, are pleasing to you. And also the warnings when, they say, I want 10 popsicles, and then teach them this could be greedy, that could be too much. You don't need that, and it's not good for you. So those things, all day long, we're teaching those things.
So many times in the messages, and it seems like our Lord and our Mother and the angels and saints and St. Joseph and Mary, the unknown saint, lead us back to the life of Nazareth. And we know in the life of Nazareth, they lived a very simple life. I mean, the God-man was born in a cave, in a stable. They had just a barest of necessities. And, what Mary says in this message, holy households make fine people. And what's important to a child doesn't come home and say, I need these things, but that the mother picks the child up when the child cries. That's the holistic yes of the goodness of their being. And that's what we can do in simplicity. As you say, that the tone of gratitude is so important, especially in a world where there is great temptations towards materialism, what we don't have, versus thanking God for what we do have.
And I think the less we have, the more grateful we're going to be.
Yeah,
we're going to start to get real
isn't it?
grateful. I love the image of an infant coming home from a hospital or what have you and saying, oh, why don't I have a bigger house? This is it.
Right. I prefer the deluxe diapers, really.
Right. It's so ridiculous. It should hit us all right between the eyes.
Well, it just seems like there's an ongoing theme of, again, the key of the mother setting tones. I mean, it's such a beautiful affirmation from heaven of the importance, the dignity of motherhood.
And she sets the tone also for the father. And it's very important to be content with what you have as a wife and mother, because this will console the father, especially in times where the father may not be working.
Right. So, in a certain sense, when the father is saying be content with what you have, it's not going to have the same meaning as the mother, because the mother is showing by example that she is content, whereas the father is the provider and he's trying to bring these things home, but the mother really sets that key tone, and that's just so important.
And I hear women right now saying, hold on a minute, this doesn't fit us. These are general principles and guidelines, and if you're the working person and the husband is not, you adapt, you know what I mean? And the husband adapts, and that is a very holy opportunity as well.
Thank you, Ann.